Between Amazon and Meta, they are absolutely going to be running the world in this new regime that's coming down the line. They are going to be running it. There's going to be no other company. There's going to be no need for any other company besides Meta, who has Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram. That's going to be the way that you communicate between yourself, your family, your friends, all of your loved ones, even your coworkers. Meta is going to be how do you communicate to those people with their metaverse and all of the different platforms that they currently have. And I'm sure that they're going to add more. And Amazon is going to be the way that you receive anything that you need, whether it be groceries, items for the house, whatever it is that you need, Amazon is going to take care of it. They're going to house the item in their warehouse. They're going to ship it to your house. Recently, we just heard about the fact that UPS is going away from dealing with Amazon. And because they're dropping that entire workload, they're also dropping 20,000 of their employees, 20,000 people out of a job because Amazon is taking UPS's lunch. We saw it with Netflix when they took over Blockbuster. Now we're seeing it with Amazon taking over the business, the logistics business that UPS has dominated for the past couple of decades. If you guys don't know, if you guys are not ordering off of Amazon, if you guys seem to not be using your Prime memberships, let me tell you what's going on. About a year ago, me and my wife, we started noticing that there's a specific truck, this Amazon branded truck that seems to be coming in our neighborhoods. And I said, I've never seen this truck before. Where did that come from? That truck seems to be part of a new fleet of delivery vehicles that Amazon has. They're ramping up their own fleet and doing away with these third-party carriers, not only private companies, small companies, but also UPS, who's been a deliverer for Amazon for about the past decade. UPS is dropping the Amazon business, which is about 15% of their revenue, somewhere around there, which is a huge hit on their revenue and net income. But it's not sustainable. They said it's one of the lowest performing profit margins that they have in their portfolio of businesses that they work with. So they said, we're not working with Amazon anymore. We're done with them. We have an article from CNN that says UPS will cut 20,000 jobs this year, about 4% of its global, meaning the entire world, about 4% of its global workforce. But UPS added the decision is unrelated to tariffs and is instead due to increased use of technology and a previously announced plan to trim its Amazon business. UPS in January announced a glide down plan to cut its business with Amazon, its largest customer, and about half by the middle of 2026. UPS CEO Carol Tomé said Tuesday that most of the Amazon business that is given up is not profitable for us, nor a healthy fit for our network. The Amazon business is not profitable. It's not profitable because Amazon has started to negotiate the terms of what it is that they're doing with UPS because they have their own fleet of vehicles. They don't have to rely on the infrastructure that UPS has dominated for the past couple of decades. They don't have to rely on it. They come in there, they partner with UPS. They've seen how we do business. They got a lay of the land. They look, oh yeah, you guys, that's how you do that. Oh, you guys have your own planes. Okay, that's how you do that. Oh, you guys have your own fleet of ships. Okay. Amazon is one of the most profitable companies in the world, which we understand this is because it's a web app company. They make a lot of their money off of AWS. They make a lot of their money off of their online shop, which they host other people's. It's a marketplace. They host other people's items for them to sell and a few Amazon branded items as well. But because they've built up the infrastructure internally with their own businesses and then started looking around at their competitors, worked with their competitors through partnerships and saw what it is that they're doing, they were able to steal that business, negotiate the contracts to the point where UPS has been holding contracts with Amazon that are not even profitable for them. The UPS package volume from Amazon was already down 16% and in the just completed quarter, which was a bigger drop than UPS had forecasted for the period. UPS said it will close 73 U.S. buildings by the end of June as part of that glide down plan. Amazon is taking UPS's lunch. They've gotten the lay of the land. They built that up to the point where they don't need to partner. They're going to continue to partner because there are going to be some expenses in some areas that are not fiscally responsible for them to go into just yet. They're not going to just deploy stuff everywhere. They're going to partner with some people that are already local and continue to do business with them. But over time, as their logistics network grows, maybe they end up getting drones or something like that in another 5 to 10 years. They're not going to need anybody else to partner with. They're going to do everything in-house. And we're starting to see the rippling effects of them building up that logistics business with their partnership with UPS. UPS has also said it expects to use more automation in its facilities, from sorting packages to label application to loading and unloading trucks, with 400 facilities becoming partly, if not fully automated. Okay, so part of their laying off people is they're moving towards this AI and technology focused business. That's part of it. And the other part of it is, hey, we've boosted our production off the back of doing work with Amazon. Not saying that that's the only reason they're ramping down, but part of the reason is they boosted their production off the business that they were doing with Amazon, which is dwindling down quicker than they expected. And they're already losing money just on that segment alone. With this reconfiguration, we will also lessen our dependency on labor. The Teamster Union, which represents more than 300,000 UPS workers, hourly workers, said it would fight layoffs of any of its members. If UPS wants to continue to downsize corporate management, the Teamster won't stand in its way. But if the company intends to violate our contract or make any attempt to go after hard-fought, good-paying Teamster jobs, UPS will be in for a hell of a fight. This is where I disagree. If a business is losing some money, UPS has said that they're losing money. They're saying in order to get back to where we need to be in terms of profitability, in terms of being a dominant leader in the logistics space as we were, in order to do that, that means we have to let some of these people go. In order to be a profitable business, in order to continue to actually make money, instead of being in the red, we have to let 20,000 people go. That makes sense. This is the same argument that people always have about minimum wage. How can I pay you $15, $20, $25 an hour if you being here for an hour only makes me $15? I have to have some profit. So I disagree a little bit with this. Hey, you're not going to fire anybody. They work with us. They work for you, but they work with us and you can't fire them. I disagree with that. UPS did see some of the effects of Trump's broad tariffs of 10% of most imports, especially the 145% tariff on Chinese imports, but the company is still uncertain about the ultimate effects. That's everybody. Nobody truly knows what the fallout is going to be of Trump's tariffs. You know, he gave everybody across the globe tariffs at one point. Then he kind of backtracked and said, oh, we're just going to give them a global 10%, except for China, who's sitting at 145%. There was talks about it going to 245, but as of right now, I don't think that that's happened. We're still in the mid hundreds. Tomei said customers that do a lot of business with China are not thinking about exiting the business. But she has also said that many of them do not know exactly what their next step will be. Many are still hoping for a tariff rollback. I've talked about the tariffs. I've talked about the many businesses that I've seen across YouTube that continue to talk and communicate how their businesses are either failing or they're just losing a lot of money from working from the tariff situation. Candidly, there's so much uncertainty about the China orders. We know what's been announced. We don't know exactly what will happen next, and we don't know if it will stick. We think there are many things we don't know. UPS does believe its customers will feel the impact of tariffs, and because of that, and the pullback from Amazon, it forecasts its own revenue will fall in the second quarter compared to a year ago. But it also said it is not ready to drop its own full-year guidance, although it warned it could adjust that in the future as well. That's not something investors want to hear. I'm not invested in UPS is not that big of a deal to me. But as an investor, if a company that I was doing business with, that I did own, said something like that, it's not something I want to hear. I want to know that you have a way forward, but Amazon is taking your lunch. The tariffs are whooping your ass, or they're going to be whooping your ass pretty soon. So I understand where the guidance is coming from, but that's not something I ever want to hear. There is so much uncertainty in the back half of the year because all of those tariffs will ultimately impact the U.S. consumer. Current consumer sentiment is down from where it was at the beginning of the year, but the consumer is still pretty heavy. Trump said a couple of days ago that although people were pretty upset about his tariffs, this is what they voted for. And he was right. He did campaign on the fact that he was going to bring manufacturing back to the U.S. He did campaign on the fact that he was going to be bringing in the External Revenue Service. He was going to be tariffing other countries. It was a big point of contention between liberals and conservatives. So we see how it's going to be impacting the business. We're still yet to see how it's impacting the consumer as a whole. But UPS is seeing that it's going to affect their business, the tariffs are, as well as their deal with Amazon. So they're scaling back their guidance and they're firing 20,000 people so they can try to remain profitable, because we know a business's largest expense is personnel. So once again, this is UPS. They're letting go 20,000 workers. They're saying that the Amazon leg of their business is not as profitable as they want it to be. So they're cutting the arm off, and they're going to continue to do what it is that they do best for as long as they can do it, as long as Amazon is not eating their lunch and they can stay in business. Those are my thoughts. If you like the video, subscribe to me back here for the next conversation. If you have something to say, let the world know. This is the place for discourse. Until next time. Peace.